by my way of thinking, there's going to be four essentially interconnected factors that could have the potential to really disrupt the utility business model over the next few years. The first is technology, and it goes back to the technologies that people understand and know, distributed generation. But I think the emergence of storage is a real game changer. The point I'd like to make, I think about storage is that storage is not a market that's being developed solely for the utility sector. It's being developed for a lot of other applications, for cars, and so the market's going to continue to develop whether or not the utilities take advantage of it and start to scale it. So I think the prices are going to come down inevitably, and there's a great deal of interest in that. So I think the implications for the same kind of sea change in component prices on distributed generation and storage are there. The second piece is the aging infrastructure and the increase in regulatory compliance costs that the utilities are going to face. That's going to drive the economics of using distributed generation in a different direction. When you think about not having to do a transmission line or not having to do a multi-billion-dollar upgrade on a coal-based facility, suddenly doing distributed generation makes a lot more sense. The third is really efficiency. I think we're going to continue to see quantum leaps in the impact efficiency is going to have on utility systems. We used to think about aggressive targets for utilities as 1%, 2%, 3% of their load. Now we're talking very easily 5% and maybe 10%. And I think if you look at the way technologies are beginning to accelerate in the market, that could have a very substantial and very profound effect on utility revenues and load. And the final thing, and I think it factors into all of them, is the emergence of analytics coupled with the ability to interact with and communicate with your customers so much easier through apps and things like that. And I think if you put all those things together and put them in an analytic platform, I think you could very easily see a system where 10, 20, 30% of the utility load gets clipped very easily and is done by private sector actors that are independent of the utility. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of different factors. One is simply, the private sector and how much it continues to invest in other venues and drives these things. As I said, with battery technology, Elon Musk and Tesla investing so much and so much private sector capital going into business technology, coupled with things like the government's effort on RBE, I think you're going to see a lot of pretty rapid change in the storage technology. I think the other element is, quite frankly, how much the regulatory and tax environment changes in order to make those kinds of things possible. I don't think that's a make or break. I think if the regulations are structured correctly, I think it could have a profound impact. I think if they're structured incorrectly, it may delay, but it won't completely stop the development of those markets. Oh, I think it's great. I think it shows that they're forward-looking and they've got, they're looking towards the future and understanding that these are technology of the future. My concern is that the utilities, by their very nature, are somewhat hamstrung in terms of competing with that market. They have limited service territories, so they can't expand their offerings broadly. They can't scale their market. Second of all, there's a whole host of regulatory, I wouldn't say barriers, but regulatory issues. For them to do anything, they have to go ask permission, which can often take a year or two, which in many cases means that the applications or the process that they want to push could get overtaken by the market in that. And the third is that their business model is split. One part is keep the lights on. The other part is looking to be more entrepreneurial. And I think it's going to be a challenge to mix sort of the traditional utility role with a more entrepreneurial market within the same company and make it work.